It's no secret that YouTube notifications have been getting worse, so I want to fix that. I want to build an alternative. I've been making YouTube videos since about 2014, although I honestly didn't start taking it seriously until about 2019. Up until that point, all I really did was streaming, and I didn't really think that I would ever be able to build an audience on YouTube. I did pull it off at some point eventually. It took a while, but now that I have it, I'm staring at it and going, why does YouTube keep getting worse? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, and most of them are because it is a for-profit company that doesn't really care about its user base. While it is possible to build a very dedicated, awesome audience on YouTube, which I'm lucky enough to have done, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of them are going to see the stuff that I make. So I've decided to move away from YouTube a little bit and not depend on it for everything. And I'm building a blog and newsletter. Part of the reason for me building a newsletter is I want to have something that I own. I want to have the ability for me to be able to reach out and speak with you without having to be constrained within a platform. Well, I do have things like Patreon already, and I do also have the YouTube community tab. These are rather limited and don't always do what I want them to do. Patreon, especially as of late, has been moving in directions that I honestly want to scratch my head when I look at them. Most notably, their constant and frequent demands for me to change my plan so I make less money so that they can also provide merch for me, which is a bit redundant, seeing as I already have a merch store on Fourth Wall. They also really want me to use their video hosting service, which I also see as a bit silly because I have YouTube and can simply unlist a video, and if other people find it, then so be it. Nothing I'm doing is secret enough that it really needs to be locked behind a paywall after all. And if I did want to do that, I could just use the YouTube members program. So because of this, I'm building a newsletter, and I'm hosting it on Ghost. If you're not familiar with Ghost, it is a newsletter and blog hosting platform that is used by many creators that I read and watch. Probably most notably would be the 404 Media Group, which is an offshoot of what was once Vice Motherboard's core team, and they are providing some of the coolest and most interesting writing and journalism on the internet right now. I highly recommend that you check out their site. But after hearing glowing reviews and endorsements from various people who I respect in the industry, I decided to check it out myself. I've imported the active members from my Patreon in already, so if you are a member of my Patreon, you probably saw an email go out stating that I'm going to be using those emails to start the newsletter baseline. But if you're watching on this YouTube channel and you're not a free member or a paid member on my Patreon and you'd like to get this newsletter, you can sign up in the description. Here's a brief look at the landing page for the website. Right behind my camera, you can see a space where you can subscribe to the newsletter. There is also an account system which currently is empty. The goal of this is to build a blog, primarily. I'm going to be writing a post once a week. The posts are going to contain a list of videos that I uploaded the week prior, in case you missed something. It's going to contain some stats. It's going to contain the stuff that I have planned that I know is going to be released. Of course, videos may be unplanned and just get released in the case of news and whatnot, so those will show up in the previous weeks. And I'm also going to be doing a monthly roundup where I talk out and write about games that I'm interested in playing in the future, games that are maybe coming out which might be interesting to me, which I might not cover, but still want to highlight for one reason or another, and also the general rotation of the games that I'm expecting to be playing that month. I'll also be posting schedule updates, video upload schedules as well, if they change drastically, and where you can find the streams, etc. Yes, it's a newsletter. Yes, it's going to go into your email. And currently, it's completely free. However, because people have been asking me to find alternatives to Patreon for a while, I'm leaving this as a possible option. The rest of the website is just some information. We have the What's This page, which basically talks about what I'm talking about in this here video, as well as a list of links where you can, find everything that I do all in one place. This might get bigger, might stay the same. I need to look at it a little bit and figure out exactly what I want this to look like going forward. Now, people have been asking me for a while to find an alternative to Patreon. Patreon has always been a little bit questionable in their decision-making. While it's a pretty stable platform, it's well-known, and people generally don't mind using it, I've had people asking me to find alternatives for a while. A lot of people point at Ko-fi, Ko-Fi, but I find that Ko-fi is going in the same direction that Patreon has been. While they are a much more friendly platform and fairer when it comes to, splits, I do personally feel that Ko-fi is just going to kind of end up going in the same direction that Patreon has been. And if you're wondering what I mean by that direction, frankly, Patreon has been trying to force certain features on me that I've never wanted, as I talked about a little bit earlier in this video. And While I don't have any plans to end my Patreon or get rid of it, I do think that if a better platform were to become available and become a viable option, it might not be a bad idea to move. This newsletter, I'm paying for hosting. I'm paying Ghost for hosting. It's not super expensive currently, although as the number of members go up, I will have to pay more for hosting fees. Currently, I'm just going to run it for free with no paid tiers. But if people like this as an alternative way of me communicating with my audience that isn't Twitter or some other social media service, I will be open to the idea of making this an actual alternative to Patreon. It processes payments in Stripe, which is fine, and I already have access to an account for that. I've got all of that stuff set up behind the scenes and can very easily build monthly and annual subscription options for this platform. It has very similar features. It allows me to build stuff such as podcasts. It allows me to do maybe more in-depth write-ups about things, or perhaps it could be a place where I talk about my stumbling and fumbling and learning my way through Linux. If this is something that's interesting to you, and if there's specific things you would like to see on a website like this, let me know down in the comments section. I'd love to know. I can already tell you that the behind-the-scenes side of this hosting service is significantly better than Patreon's. It's also open source, so if you want to go look at the source code, you can. I could also theoretically self-host it if I wanted to, but honestly, I don't have the server capacity, and I don't feel like opening myself up to data attacks. I think that seems like a bad idea. But blindirl.com is now available. You can go there. There isn't any posts up yet. First post is coming out on Monday, so I'm giving myself a little bit of time to edit it. This isn't going to be making a lot more extra work for me anyway, because I've been writing down my weekly escapades anyway in digital notes. So this is mostly just me formatting things that I've already been doing into a blog so that you can get access to that quicker. If this is something that you're interested in, please go sign up over on the website, blindirl.com. And if this isn't something you're interested in, let me know why. I'd be curious to know. I personally think that YouTube notifications, and honestly, to a level, Twitch notifications are terrible. And I need anything as an alternative to send out information to my audience. Discord, while it's great, some people don't like using it, and also has been in shitifying a lot recently. And I don't have 100% faith that Discord will be around forever. As much as I like the platform, it's one of those things where I look at it and I go, it's good right now, but it could get bad quickly if the wrong person bought it. All in all, a little bit of an update, a little bit of a heads up. Check out the website. There's nothing on it yet. First post goes up on Monday. Feel free to sign up to the newsletter if it interests you. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you on the newsletter and in the next one.